So to answer to all those questions, first question was in relation to Vyasdev. Second question, this second sets of questions were related to Sukdev Goswami. Third sets of questions were related to Parikshit Maharaj. In answer to all those questions, Sukdev Goswami started with how Ved Vyas is dividing the Vedas, okay, in different categories. So although after dividing all those Vedas, he was not satisfied. So then what was the inspiration? So to answer that question, that what was the inspiration to write Srimad Bhagavatam? So as a prelude to answer that question, Sukdev Goswami is narrating this verse number 14 to 25. So there he says that Sutu Vacha Dvapare Sam Anuprapte Nutye Yuga Paryaye Jata Para Sarat Yogi Vasyam Hare. He said that Suti Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage was born to Parasar in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasi. So first of all, in this verse, Suti Goswami gave the history of Vyasdev, that how Vyasdev has taken birth. Here it is mentioned that when second millennium overlapped the third, means in one day of Brahma there are 1,000 Chaturyuga. Okay. In one day of Brahma there are 1,000 Chaturyuga, and in that Chaturyuga, uh, when during the 28th Chaturyuga, Lord Krishna appeared. Sorry, 28th Chaturyuga, sorry, 14. There are 14 Manu. In each Manu there are 71 Chaturyuga, and there are 6 overlapping Chaturyuga, transitioning Chaturyuga. So during the 7th Manu, 28th Chaturyuga, in that period, generally there is a chronological order is Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Yuga. 7th Manvantara, 20th Chaturyuga. What happened that first comes Dwapar Yuga and then Treta Yuga. So that is the meaning of the second millennium overlap the third. So at that time, so at the end of uh, so when when Dwapar Yuga was about to end, so in this particular Kshatriya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga comes first, then Treta Yuga comes. So when Dwapar Yuga was about to end, okay, so at that time, Vyasdev was born to Satyavati through Parasar. That is what is mentioned here. Okay, so basically it was each Yuga is divided in three Sandhya: first phase, second phase, and third phase. So here specifically, Vyasdev was born in the third phase of the Dwapar Yuga. So this is the birth history of Vyasdev. In the next verse, it is mentioned that Sakadachit Saraswatya Upasprushya Chalam Suchi Vivikta Ek Asina Udite Ravi Mandale. So it is meant once upon a time. So so that was the birth history. So here it is mentioned about how once upon a time Vyasdev as the sun rose took his morning ablution in the water of Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. So purpose of the Ved Vyas is to compile all the Vedic literature. So one day he was sitting at the bank of Saraswati river. Okay. So the river Saraswati is flowing in the Badrikashram area of the Himalaya. So the place indicated here is Samyapras in the Badrikashram where Sri Vyasadev is residing. So what he was doing by sitting there, so what he was concentrating, so that is mentioned here that Paravaragya Sarusi Kalena Vyaktarahasa Yugadharma Vyati Karam Prapta Bhuvi Yuge Yuge. So Vyasadeva was seeing that the great sage Vyasadeva saw anomalies in the duties of the millennium. This happens on the earth in different age due to the unseen force of the time. The great sage, like, yes, they are liberated souls. They are Trikaldarshi. They can see past, future, and present. Okay, so thus he could see the future anomalies in the Kali Yuga. And so that's why, what will be the probable solution? What will be the solution for the Kali Yuga? She was meditating on that. So because of that, to help the people of that particular age, he was meditating how he can help them. Okay. So he made an arrangement for the people in general so that they can execute a progressive life in this age, which is full of darkness. So, and then, basically, people in the age of Kali are too much interested in matter. We can see always, right? Hardly some spiritual talk, hardly some spiritual activities are there in the Kali Yuga. Most of the people are engaged in the material activities, and those are materially flourishing. They are glorified. Okay, but someone is performing spiritual activities, they are not much given attention. So, that's why it is mentioned that in the age of Kali, people are too much interested in matter, which is temporary, and because of that, because of the ignorance, they are evaluate the asset of life and enlighten the spiritual knowledge. So for them, he has to write. Okay, so then what he did? Bhautikānām ca bhavanām saktihāsam ca tatkrutam asraddhāta asraddhānānīnah satvan durmedāna prasidtāyusa durbhāgasya janāna vikṣya munirdivyena chaksusa sarvavarna anam yadhyo hitam modadrut. So the great sage, who was fully equipped in knowledge. So of course, Vedas was always avatar. So could see through his transcendental vision the deterioration due to age. So he can see what is going to happen in the Kali Yuga. So he can see what is going to happen in Kali Yuga through his transcendental vision. Okay. And he could also see that faithless people in general would be reduced in duration of life and would be impatient due to the lack of goodness. Thus, he contemplated for the welfare of men in all status and order of life. So, now we in the second chapter of this canto, we learned the description of the people in Chaluga that Prayana Alpaisha, Kalyasmi Jana, Manda Sumanda Mate, Manda Bhaga. People in the Kalyuga will be quarrelsome. They will they have a short life and they will have a short life. Alpaisha, Kalyasmi Manda, they will be lazy. Sumanda, so they will be misguided. Manda Bhagya, they will be unfortunate. And Upadravata, they will always wisdom. So, of course, whatever Sukh Goswami mentioned. So, again, we have to have seen same thing. So, Sukh Goswami concluded there that what will be the condition of the people in Kali Yuga. So, generally, we are so much, if you see in the even in the material terms, if people are so much bad condition, we have always compassion. If we see some bad situation, or whatever maybe financially or emotionally, materially, or whatever way, if someone is in bad situation, we feel compassion. No, of course, in the terms of materially, generally we feel the compassion, but the Vedas and all, they are realized, they are great personality. Of course, is Satyavas of they are always person from the people who are not towards spirituality because he knows that people are not on the path of spirituality. That's why they are suffering. That's why Vedas was focusing. And of course, in the Kaluga, they will be more inclined towards material activity. That's why he was even, more concerned about them. That's why he was concentrating and, thinking that how can thus he contemplated for the welfare of man in all status and order of life. Not only for one, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Brahmachari, but not any particular, but for all the people was concerned. Now, out of concern, what he did, that is mentioned in the next verse. So there it is mentioned that Chaturuhot Prakarma Suddha Prajana Viksha Vedikam Vyadhad Yajna Santatye Vedam Ekam Chaturvidam. Because of being concerned for, so earlier it was only one Veda. So he divided the one Veda into four. So he saw that the sacrifice mentioned in the Vedas are means by which the people's occupation could be purified. He thought, okay, these people are so much degraded and whatever. So then what he thought, oh, as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, ninth verse, yajna arthat karmano netra lokoyam karma bandhana tad artha karma pantaya mukta sangha samachara. So if someone performs the yajna for the sake of Lord Vishnu, then he can be free from all the bondage. Otherwise, he'll be bound by his activity. So basically, we have to perform the yajna for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So the Vyasdev also decided that, oh, if people perform yajna, then they will be free from all the anomalies of the age of Kali. So that's what he thought. He saw that sacrifice mentioned in the Veda means by which the people's occupation could be purified. So there are different set of yajnas for different orders of people and different spiritual and material orders of people. So that's why he decided, oh, yajna is meant to purify them. That's why he thought that let me, divide the Vedas. Uh, Segregating the chapters, it would have been very difficult for us to understand. So that's why what happened, it has been divided in chapter. Of course, Lord Krishna didn't say, oh, this is chapter number 1, chapter number 2, chapter number 3, chapter number 4, chapter number 5. But this was written by Vyasa. So then he segregated, oh, this, that, whatever. Okay. So say, so that's why for the welfare of the people, this Bhagavad Gita was also segregated in different chapters. Similar way, Vyasdev thought, okay, if it is one set of instructions, there are so many, without segregation, it would have been difficult for the people to understand. So then he thought, let me divide all the Vedas. So he divided the Vedas into four in order to expand them among the men. There are different categories of yajnas are mentioned. So formally there was only one Veda named Yajur, and the four division of sacrifice were there specifically mentioned. So there are different kind of sacrifice were there in that Veda. Okay. So but to make them more easily performable, the Vedas were divided into four division of sacrifice, just to purify occupational service of the four orders. So this was divided in four orders. About the four Vedas, namely Ruk, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva, there are Puranas. Apart from Vedas, there are Puranas, the Mahabharata, Samhita, which are known as fifth Veda, Pancham Veda. Sri Vyasdev, these many disciples were all historical personalities. They were very kind and sympathetic towards the fallen soul of this age of Kali. As such, the Puranas and Mahabharata are made from the related historical facts which explain the teachings of the four Vedas. So, what was the purpose of the Puranas? So, of course, Vedas directly give, this is the yajnas and all, but Puranas explain through the example, historical facts. Sometimes we make a story that is called mythology. But these Puranas were historical facts which explain that how to perform yajna as mentioned in the Vedas. That's a Puranas. Purana means old histories. Okay. So there is no point in doubting the authorities of Purana and Mahabharata as a part and parcel of the Veda. In Chandogya Upanishad, the Purana and Mahabharata, generally known as histories, are mentioned in the fifth Veda. So in Chandogya Upanishad, the Upanishad is already part of Veda. So one Veda, every Veda is divided in four parts. Of course, there are four Vedas. Earlier there was one Veda, Yajur Veda, and it was divided in four Vedas. And each Veda is divided in four categories: Brahman, Samhita, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. So that way, each Veda is divided in four categories. So in the next verse, he says that how the Vedas are divided. So that is that Rugayaju Sam Arthakya Vedas Chatvara Udhutrita Itihasa Puranam Cha Panchamo Veda Uchyate. The four divisions of original source of knowledge were made separately, but historical facts and authentic stories mentioned in the Purana are called fifth Veda. So Vedas were divided in four. So they were original source of knowledge and made separated. Means it's not that they have been, extra thing was written. Just they were, part one, part two, part three, part four, like that they have been written. But Ityas and Purana are called Pancham Veda. In the next he says, Tatra Ruga Veda Dhara Pela Samago Jemini Kavi Vesampayano Eveko Eveko Nisanato Yajusramata. So then, after dividing Veda, he made in charge one particular Rishi for each Veda. Right? So, like, so he made it in charge. Pehla Rishi become the professor of Rig Veda. So then Jaimini, he Vesampayana glorified the Yajur Veda. So sometimes, if you, not sometimes, but generally when you're studying school, then you go to college, let's say you go to some particular engineering department, electronics communication, there are so many subject matters are there. Solid state device, elect basic electronics, microcontrollers, so many things are there. But if you go in master degrees, again they are divided. That means basically circuit design is a different thing, communication is different thing. And in that also there are so many specializations. That way Veda, one particular in charge was made for each and every Veda. In the next he says, Atharva Angirasam Asit Samantura Daruno Muni Ityasa Purana Darshanaha. The Sumantu Muni Angira, who was very devotedly engaged, was entrusted with the Athra Veda. So Angira Muni was in charge of Athra Veda, and father of Stuta Goswami, Rom Harsana, was entrusted with the Puranas and historical records. So that way, different divisions were handed over to one particular person for specialization. So then it says, Tata etadusaya vedo swam vyasayan anekatha sisye praishit untas sisyer vedas satino abhavan. So all these learned scholars in their turn render their interested Vedas unto their many disciples. And finally, they were become the interested to spread the message of in different people, just like Srila Prabhupada. So first he translated Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in English language. Then he entrusted his disciple to translate them in different language. Some translated in Hindi, some in Bengali, some in Telugu, Tamil, Spanish, Urdu. They become their particular in charge. The same way he occurs here, not the different language, but different division. Okay, so then so this different in charge of different Vedas finally imparted the knowledge to the disciples, grand disciples, great grand disciples, and thus the respective branches of the followers of Veda came into being. So that is explained in detail in the 13th, sorry, 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the next verse, he mentions that Eva Veda Durmedha Dharyante Purush Imam Chakara Bhagwan Vyasa Krupana Vatsalah. So in this way, the great sage Vyasadeva, who is very kind to the ignorant masses, added the Vedas so they might be assimilated by less intelligent men. Specifically considering that even the worst in terms of spiritual understanding the spiritual matter, worst person can understand. In such a way, he decided to in that way he decided to edit the Veda. So that was he thought that I should do this way. Then he says, Sudra Bij Bandhunam Rayina Suti Gochara Karma Sreyo Mudanam Sreya Eva Bhavediha Iti Bharatam Akhyanam Rupaya Munina. So out of compassion, why he did? Out of compassion, the great sage thought it wise that this would enable man to achieve the ultimate goal of life. The purpose of all these things, dividing all Veda, making other respective in charge of Veda was to what? Enable man to achieve the ultimate goal of life. What is the ultimate goal of life that we already saw in second chapter of this canto, right? Some say there Hari Tosam. So whatever we do, but that should be pleasing to Hari. It should be Hari Tosam. If it is not Hari Tosanam, then this is a Srameva Kevalam. So then that's why he divided all this Veda. That was the goal. Thus he compiled the great historical narration called Mahabharata. This was the purpose of. So we'll end here. If you tomorrow we'll saw that how although Ved Vyas has done all those things, he made all those division of Veda, but still he was dissatisfied. So this was the prelude uh, of how Vyasadeva was inspired to write Bhagavatam. So he saw that Vyasadeva did all those things. He wrote Vedas, he wrote Puranas, and he wrote Ityasa, but still he was dissatisfied. So we'll see from here that what wise one Brahmana still his mind was not satisfied, although he engaged himself in working for total welfare of people. He was not satisfied after writing all those things. Okay. So this is how now Sukh Goswami is explaining that what was his inspiration to write Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was dissatisfied, then he was meditating. Why am I dissatisfied? At that time, Narad Muni appears. And Narad Muni, first of all, chastised him. Oh, you have written everything, but you have not glorified the Lord Hari sufficiently. And that is the cause of your dissatisfaction. So you should uh, specifically glorify the Lord Hari, and that will make you satisfied. So Narad Muni was telling that you wrote up so many Vedic literature, and personally you are not satisfied, then how the people who are going to read will be satisfied? So you have to write the literature which will satisfy you. And once you are satisfied, then audience will also be satisfied. So that we'll discuss in the, of course, in the rest of the chapter and upcoming chapter. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.